levers from the different phases in the life cycle to understand where you should be spending your time and energy, okay? So I've divided these up. I'm going to go through them to help you. But what happens at all the organizations we work for is the CEO walks in one day and says, my kid's talking about Twitter. I was watching C-SPAN. Somebody was talking about Twitter. I listened to NPR. They said I could join them on Twitter. What the hell is Twitter and why aren't we there? And all of a sudden, the whole marketing team or you guys end up saying, oh, well, I know how to do Twitter. We'll figure it out. We'll get on Twitter. And you rush to Twitter in the escalation phase with everybody else. And you're just adding noise to the platform. You can't figure it out. You're not adding much value. You cannot do that. Because what happens is all the stuff in the maintain phase that you should be doing suffers hugely. You start losing all your value there. You just forget about the quality of your content on your blog because you're spending all day tweeting. It's useless. Do not lose focus. So I'll walk through these very quickly. But in the experimentation phase, you have things like Omegle or mobile video streaming like quick.com. Only spend 5% of your time there, but you've got to be playing there. And you've got to convince your clients, if you're going to give them a social media strategy, that they've got to experiment. Because their audience might actually be there. So financial advisors, they're actually watching you stream all day. There is a guy that does a global trader show 8 hours a day, and he's actually trading and playing music, and it's very bizarre. It's great content. So he's there. In the next phase, you have adoption. Mobile streaming again shows up. I won't get into the intricacies of why, but anyway, 12seconds.tv is there. Feed aggregators, identity aggregators, Twitter apps. Only 10% of your time. Do not get defocused with this stuff and say all of a sudden Doppler is great. Gestation, you have all sorts of stuff like Yelp is in the gestation phase. It's growing very rapidly, but very popular. And you should be, especially if your business is on Yelp, you should be on Yelp. Live streaming you'll see here. And here's Escalation. Seismic, crowdsourcing of all sorts of content is there at Twitter. You should not be spending any more time than you were in the adoption phase. Which means if you weren't there in the adoption phase, the gestation phase, you should not be playing. Just watch for a while. Figure it out before you dive in. Listen, fine, do whatever, but make sure you're reading all the articles and understanding the platform before you start denigrating the content for the rest of us who actually got there when it was early and try to figure it out. Does that make sense? Okay. The next phase, you have consolidate and monetize. I lump these together because they're very, very close. But social networks at a big level are here. Curated social networks, which is kind of what Joe does, I would say, with Jota 42. Kind of bookmarking, and it's a really close-knit network. Document sharing, or link sharing are there. But again, these are about to go into the maintain phase in the next 6 to 9 to 12 to 18 months. So they're going to be moving into that 30% of your time and energy. And there's your 30%. These are things that you've heard about forever. These are the YouTubes or blogging as a platform or podcasting, photo sharing. People forget about podcasting, but it is unbelievably successful. And it works really well if you do it right. You can't just call someone and have a conference call and call it a podcast. That's not a podcast. It needs to be high quality. It needs to be relevant. All right.